All right, and we're back. This is going to be part two of my however many part series of ranking all the art rares. And we're going to be starting with Obsidian Flames. So last time we left off, I had ranked all of the art rares from Scarlet and Violet base set and Paldea Evolved. I'm going to be doing like a little bit of a quick look over the list just to make sure that I got everything right. I think there are some cards that I would like to move up a little bit and some cards that I would like to move down a little bit. So let's get on to it. So I think that the Raichu art rare should be moved up just a little bit, maybe like a bottom of B tier. Um, or I could put it in B plus tier actually. It's not a bad card. It does look pretty nice. Very simplistic, which is a good thing for most cases. Um, I'm trying to think here. Maybe the Dolive can move down a little bit, but like maybe one spot. These ones, I think they're all pretty fine. I'd probably move the Pachirisu down to the bottom. Maybe like just like right here for now. Um, and then the Tarantula, I'll move it up a little bit as well. I think I'll put the Quaxley down here, move the Tarantula up to B minus tier. And I think that that's fine for now. We can obviously adjust it as we go. But for now, I think that that's totally fine. Just a little bit of slight adjustments. So let's just start off with the Gloom. This is going to be from Obsidian Flames, illustrated by Masako Tomi, an artist that pretty much got their start with this card. Something cool about this card is that I didn't even ever realize that there were some Weedles down here, but the environment of the card is great. You have a very nice emphasis on Gloom as the Pokemon. A very good decision to make Gloom an art rare because it's a Gen 1 Pokemon that not really a lot of people know about, like probably one of the more underrated Gen 1 Pokemon. And the colors in this card are fantastic. The little Weedles are a very nice addition, and I think that the art rare is pretty beautiful. It's a great start to this list, honestly, to today's start of the list. And I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in like B plus tier. I think that maybe a little bit higher actually. A lot of these like colorful, nicer art rares are ones that I actually quite like. So I'm gonna put it like up here, maybe like right there. And I'm actually gonna move the Heracross up quite a little bit here. I'm gonna move it right up all the way to the top of A tier, just because I really do like it a lot. Um, Yeah, that's the first one. The second one is going to be the Ninetales by Sei Nanahara. So this is a really beautiful card. I think might be one of my favorite art rares or illustration rares of all time. The colors are fantastic. You have like this really nice Ninetales peering over into the distance. Nice little red eye on the Pokemon. You have like a very nice detailed Pokemon itself. You can see all the tips of the tails. They're all very nicely textured. And then you have the trees kind of going all in different directions. Very nice, like fuzzy, almost kind of fuzzy trees with the leaves. Um, and the colors are just great. They fit Ninetales perfectly. It's one of my favorite art rares of all time. I'm gonna put it in the A plus tier actually. I'm gonna put it like right at the top of the A plus tier, and it's bordering an S. So we'll see where that goes in a second. Our next card is going to be the Palafin by Akira Komayama. This one is cool because it's symmetrical. Palafin is a staple Pokemon in the TCG because they use it a lot, and also it's just one of the more iconic Pokemon from Gen 9, I would say. Um, this card, it does it pretty well justice. I think that the coral around the Pokemon mixed with like the little baby Palafins, the big one standing in the middle, it's kind of cool, kind of menacing almost. Obviously, the card is not scary or anything, but it's just a cool pose. I like how he's looking down at the camera. I like how it's symmetrical. I think people usually like the symmetrical cards. Um, it isn't my favorite art rare of all time, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. But I do think it's pretty cool. Like I think it's like a pretty nice addition to the art rare lineup. And this one, the Crocalor, I think I'm gonna move it down a little bit, unfortunately, just because I don't really think it should be all the way at the top of like B tier. And I think that's cool. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, our next one is going to be the Belly Bolt. This is by Keiichiro Ito, the illustrator of the Umbreon VMAX All Art, one of the most popular ones of all time. This one is very cute. It's very just like his stomach is lighting up the area around him in the cave, which is a good idea. I think that the colors are pretty nice, but it's not like the most visually interesting art rare of all time, illustration rare. The water is nice, the stalactites are nice, but when you're facing a lot of these like big tier, big pocket illustration rares, I think it's kind of like a little bit lackluster. And I don't really care for Belly Bolt as a Pokemon. I do think the colors are pretty nice though, but I am going to put it at the bottom of C tier pretty much. Actually, I might have to put it in D tier. I don't hate it. Again, none of these art rares I really hate. I just think this is one of the most lackluster ones that we got. Oh, this one is really nice though. The Cleffa. This is by Hayaganosuke. The colors on this one are fantastic. You have like a nice nebula kind of back pattern in the background, and then you have like the floor, which is reflecting the top. Perfect. Like, I don't know. It's just like a very simplistic illustration, one that you can't really hate just because it's so nice and simple. Cleffa obviously taking center stage, and then you have the shooting star in the background. Pretty good representation of Cleffa's abilities, and I think that it's just a very simplistic card, which is always a good thing. And that makes me put it right next to the Looper here, maybe a little bit higher actually, just because I think I like that simplistic style. It stands out a lot compared to other art rares. I'm gonna put it right here, B plus tier. I think that's perfectly fine for me. And our next one is going to be the Larvitar. This is by Miki Tanaka. This one is not quite as good as the Paldean Wooper that they also did, but it is still pretty cool. I like how he's eating some rocks. I think that's something that he does. He eats dirt. It says in the description on the bottom, it says born deep underground, this Pokemon becomes a pupa after eating enough dirt to make a mountain. Um, that's cool. He's eating dirt in the card. But it's not my favorite art rare of all time or anything. I'm gonna put it a little bit lower just because it's not as remarkable as a lot of the ones that we've seen so far. Even I like the Paldean Wooper a little bit more just because it's like more stylized, I guess. This is a really nice one. It's the Houndour by Cupiyama, an artist who I don't really think has a lot of cards. This was probably their debut card. I really like it a lot. The Houndour, they're all very cute. I like how one of them is they're just like sleeping in like trash, pretty much. They're kind of in like a destroyed area. The fence is nice, and you have like flowers growing over the side to indicate that that's probably a nicer house over there. These guys are a little bit like in a poorer area here with like the destroyed trash, and they're fighting over nothing pretty much. But I like the fact that there's five Houndour. There are a couple eating food, there's one sleeping, and there's a couple fighting or playing. And I think that's a cute idea, and I think it does a good job. Um, it is not my favorite art rare of all time, and I think it inclines me to put it like right here in C tier, but it is still a nice looking card nonetheless. Now this one, this is Oku. Oku is an artist who's pretty like well respected in the Scarlet and Violet era. They did another art rare that I'll be talking about later, but the Caesar is one of my favorite cards in the Scarlet and Violet era. Um, the colors are great. The deep red. You have like the two Caesars that are like dueling. That's a very, very cool idea. It's just like a very nice idea for a card and executed pretty much perfectly. The Caesar looks very cool, very like awesome. Just I don't know, he's just like a really cool pose. You have this one, you can see like the slash mark, a very subtle effect, but one that's definitely noticeable. The grass looks fantastic as well. I think that this card skyrockets all the way up into S tier in my opinion. It is one of my favorite art rares of all time. And the color, like look at that red compared to all the other cards. It's like such a standout red color. Our next card is going to be another one from Obsidian Flames. It's going to be the Varoom by Soichiro Gunjima. Um, there's a lot of interesting details in this card that I never really realized until just now. Looks like there's a little Goomy and who's trapped inside of like a spray can thing. There's an Aeron on a can. There's a Swablu on a can. Um, and they're working on some kind of car. Obviously, it's probably for the Reverum. It combines into that card. Now, Varoom is not one of my favorite Pokemon in the Scarlet and Violet era, but I can respect this artwork. I can like respect the amount of effort that went into it. Um, that doesn't mean that I'm going to place it very high, though. I'll place it at the top of C tier for now, and I'm going to move the Orthworm down to D tier. Um, but yeah, this one is going to go at the top of C tier. I don't really dislike it or anything. I think there's a lot of detail in it, but it's just not my favorite Pokemon, not my favorite artwork of my favorite Pokemon. This one is nice though. This is the Pidgey by Jerky, so it's very simplistic. Jerky style is very simplistic. Um, again, like kind of like Miki Tanaka's in a way. But this one is cute. There's a bunch of different Pidgeys. They all look pretty different, I guess. Some of them look pretty much the same, like this one, and this one looks the same. This one looks a little bit different. He's like poking out. This one is like in the grass, but they're on like Route 1, so that's cool. Um, all the Pidgeys in Route 1. That's pretty nice. I think it's a pretty neat looking art rare. It doesn't skyrocket to the top of my list or anything, but I can definitely respect the simplistic art style. And I think it's going to cause me to put it like right here, like near the top of B minus tier. And I think I like the Pidgeotto a little bit more just because, I don't know, it just has a little bit more character. I think the Pidgeotto itself looks a little bit more like interesting. I like the fence, I like the lamppost, and I like the dark green color that they use on this one. They're obviously Route 4 being represented here, and I think that this one just has a little bit more character than the Pidgey. So I'm gonna put it just a little bit above it, not by much, just like one spot, maybe two. And I think that's fine. Our next card is going to be the Lechonk art rare from the same set. It's by Narumi Sato, who did another art rare who we're going to be talking about like way later. But this Lechonk is pretty cute. He just finished eating some food. He's like laying down on the ground. The colors in this one are quite nice. I like all the details, like all the flowers and plants. Kind of reminds me of like the Tropius art rare that we looked at in the last video. Sliding glass door is obviously a pretty nice touch. Um, it's just not one of my favorite art rares, honestly. I think that Lechonk is probably one of my least favorite Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet, and this card is not really doing it any favors, in my opinion. I don't hate it, though. I think that Naru Misato is a good artist. I just don't really care for this card personally. So I'm going to put it like right at the bottom of C tier, and we'll leave it at that for now. Now we're getting to 151. So 151, obviously one of the most popular sets of all time. And starting off with a bang, this Bulbasaur is just fantastic. I mean, the colors on this one are so good, like the different details. And Yoriyuki Ikegami was like the perfect illustrator that they could have commissioned for this artwork because their artwork is always like super detailed with like all the plants and stuff like that. They've done a bunch of different artworks for the Pokemon TCG, especially considering like they're more focused on like grass type Pokemon because they're really good at making these like the floral and like the leaves and the fauna or flora, or I think it's flora, yeah. Just like that idea. There's so much detail. It looks really nice. I don't know. There's just a lot of wonderful things about this card. Like you have the dew being trapped in the different leaves, and you have them being like falling off of lily pads and stuff. You have the blue leaves. You have the nice green. You can tell that these are lily pads. You can tell that these are leaves. Obviously you can tell Bulbasaur is here with the stump in the background. Yeah, really, really, really great artwork. Definitely deserves to be an A tier for sure. And I'm not just putting an A tier because it's a starter Pokemon. I'm putting an A tier because I think the artwork itself is just beautiful. Same thing with the Ivysaur. Maybe a little bit less so than the Bulbasaur, just because it doesn't have that serene feeling that the Bulbasaur has. But the water looks fantastic. Has a bunch of reflections of different plants and stuff, and you have more lily pads and more like just like a wonderful looking environment. Same thing as the Bulbasaur, just not quite as good in my opinion, which will cause it to put me like or cause me to put it a little bit lower. And I put it like right next to the Gloom, and I think that's like a perfectly fine ranking. This is the Charmander. This is by Miki Kudo. This one is pretty cute. I like the colors. I like the rocks in the background. I like how they're kind of angular, almost like they don't look like supernatural. I mean they do, but they look angular. I don't know if that makes sense. And I think that their style is kind of angular as well, because you see like Charmander's arms are kind of more like a square as opposed to like a rounded edge that you'd be used to seeing. The plants definitely do a good job of like breaking up the monotony of like the rocks. So I think that the card itself is quite nice. It is not my favorite art rare of all time by any means. But I like it enough to put it in like B plus tier. I think that it's sitting right there just fine. Um, and I'm gonna move the Fido a little bit. Actually, no, this is fine. Actually, in my opinion. The Charmeleon, it has a little bit more character. I like the lava floating down from like the canyons. I think this one is actually better than the Charmander. Obviously, they connect, so you're supposed to get all of them at one. But this one just has like a lot more personality. You have Charmander looking down. He looks very cool. As a standalone card, this one looks a lot better in my opinion. I think that the flowing lava really does a lot for like the glowing effect with like the color. I think it just looks a little bit better. You also have like the transition between the red rock and the black rock, which looks a little bit nicer in my opinion. Um, yeah, I think it's just a nicer card overall. So that means that I'm inclined to put it a little bit higher than the regular Charmander. I'm gonna put it like maybe right up here, and actually I'm gonna put it like at the top of B plus tier. I think that that's okay. They're both really good cards, though. This is a Squirtle, illustrated by Mitsuhiro Rita. I actually quite like this one. It's not my favorite art rare in the whole entire set or anything, but it's still very cute. Squirtle looks very cute in this card. I like the waves. Mitsuhiro Rita does a great job with all the detail in their cards. So, the waves look very beautiful. The sand looks very nice. You have like glimmers in the ground. Squirtle itself looks very nice. And I'm gonna put it pretty decently high up. I think that it deserves to be in the A tier, but I'm going to leave it like right here at the bottom of A tier. And the Wartortle, I think is better than the Squirtle for sure. You have like a little bit of like the reef. You have the light coming up from the top, and this just reminds me of like Mitsuhiro Rita's older works too, because they'd have some cards where the Pokemon were actually underwater. Just a really really beautiful looking card. With like the coral and like the blue ocean, but the blue obviously contrasts nicely with the blue of Wartortle. The sun, you can obviously see it reflecting off of the Pokemon, and he's looking off into the distance. He looks just a little bit cooler than Squirtle, in my opinion, and I think that bumps it up quite a little bit for me. Put Squirtle at the bottom of A tier. I'm gonna put this one like I don't know, put it like right next to the Meryl, maybe a little bit above it, because they're both good. I think they're both great cards. This one is really nice too. The Caterpie. This is by Teiziro. I really like the colors in this card. I like how they like chewed through a leaf and you're kind of seeing into that like the world of what the Caterpies are like doing. There's one going over here, there's one down here, there's one just sitting on a leaf, and then there's one like peeking over the leaf. Um, it's cute, it's nice, it's a good card. Caterpie is definitely an interesting Pokemon to get an art rare. Um, I'm gonna put it in B tier, maybe like B minus tier. I don't hate it. I don't like absolutely adore it or anything, but it's definitely a cute card for sure. And I'll put it like right here. I'm gonna move this down a little bit more. Just, but I do really like the colors of it. So next one is going to be the Pikachu. This is by Hiroyuki Yamato. Yeah, Hiroyuki Yamato. Um, man, this one is great. Really, really good. The colors are fantastic. The detail is fantastic. You have these trainers walking around, or just regular people, I don't know. But you have so many different Pokemon in it. You have Pidgey, you have Gengar, you have Jigglypuff, Pikachu obviously running along, Butterfree, Growlithe. You got Blastoise, you have Mr. Mime. Did I already say Slowpoke? You have Slowpoke. Um, and then you have both Nidorans up here, a Caterpie. I think that's Caterpie on top of somebody's head. um, man, this is just a great representation of Gen 1. Probably one of the best cards in 151 as a whole. I think it just looks really good. I'm really happy to that it's in the TCG. I'm just really happy to see it. Honestly, it gets bumped all the way to A plus tier. I think it's a really great card. Beside, like even bar the Pikachu part. Like if Pikachu wasn't in this card, I think it would still look like a fantastic card. I think it would still be great overall. So I'm not just putting it up high because it's a Pikachu card. I'm just putting it up high because I really like it. I'm gonna put it up in A tier, just because I think that's where it deserves to be. And our next one is going to be the Nidoking. This is by Misaki Hashimoto. I don't know if Misaki has done a lot of cards in the TCG, but this one is great. I really like the colors. Kind of reminds me of like a vintage card with like the kind of like watercolor style that they have going on. Um, the palm trees in the background look very nice. The sun looks very nice. Um, it's not quite the card for me. I don't think like comparatively to a lot of these other art rares, but it does still definitely deserve to be like pretty decently high on the list. I think that the colors are a little bit muted in a way, but that still makes the card, still good. I think it's still a great card. Then just putting it right here in B tier. I think that's fine with me. This was a Psyduck by Whisker. Whisker's been getting a little bit more love in the more recent sets, but this is like I think one of their debut cards or like one of their starting ones. I think it's a really great card. I really love the colors on this one. I like how there's red, purple, the trees are nice, the shading is nice, and then you have like the staircase with Psyduck slowly walking down with his mouth open. I think it's a very nice looking card. And I think that Psyduck definitely deserves an art rare. I think that the colors on this one are really the standout. That inclines me to put it like I don't know, like right here, B plus. I think that's okay. I'm trying to see like yeah, I think I like these other ones a little bit more. And our next one is going to be the Polyworld. This is one of my favorites. Probably like my second favorite of the whole 151 set. Just really love the colors in this one. Like I love all the different details, the different lights in the background, and you have like the lights reflecting off of the ground. Very similar to like how the Armarouge artware kind of worked for me because like of the all the colors and just like the reflection in the water. I think that that's always a nice effect, and I really like when they do that in cards. Poliwhirl, perfect Pokemon to get an art rare. 151 is a great set for including this in the set. I really love it a lot. That's got to be one of my favorites for sure. I'm gonna put it in A plus tier because I really, really like it a lot. And I'm actually gonna move this one down just one, maybe two. Um, yeah, I think that's a pretty good list so far. A Machoke. So this one actually has a bunch of hidden details that I didn't notice at first. I thought it was just the Machokes, but I actually didn't even see that there was a Meowth here. I didn't see the Pidgeys out there, so that's pretty cool. It's illustrated by Tetsukayama. Their art style is very recognizable in my opinion. I think that like I've collected their cards, so I know what their cards look like. Um, and I think that their cards look really cool. Definitely a very different style for Pokemon, so I think it can be a little bit off-putting for some fans. But I do think that the card itself looks really nice. Like I like how you can see the whole interior of the house. You see the moving Machoke company kind of coming in, and they're like helping these people move in. You have this person waving to the Meowth outside, and I think that's a very cute detail. Just a very nice looking detailed card. In 151, I think 151 does a good job with like those like art rares overall. So that inclines me to put it in B plus tier. And yeah, next one is going to be the Tangela. This is by Oswaldo Cato. Not my favorite Oswaldo Cato art rare of all time, but it is a very nice looking card. I like how they're like kind of he's like swinging along the tree, and I really like how the trees look. The colors are nice because you have the deep green grass, you have the deep green grass in front, and then you have like moss growing on the tree, which kind of adds some color. The flowers also add some nice color. It is not my favorite art rare of all time or anything, but it is still a nice looking card, which inclines me to put it in B tier, and I'll put it above the Nidoking because I like it a little bit more. Um, let's see. Next we got the Mr. Mime. This is by Okacheke. This is probably my least favorite art rare in the set, just because I don't really like Mr. Mime. I like the idea of the card. They're kind of just standing out in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of a little bit disappointing to me. Like they have there's like a concrete ground on the ground, so obviously they're somewhere, but they're it's not really like I don't know. It just doesn't really make that much sense to me. Like I don't know exactly where they are. Um, I like the lighting. I like the colors. I like the trees and stuff. Um, I'm just not a huge fan of Mr. Mime as a Pokemon. Really just not appealing to me. And that inclines me to put this pretty low. Like honestly, like pretty dang low. Maybe like bottom of C tier. And I think I'm gonna move this one up. No, I'm gonna put this one in D tier. I'm gonna put this one in D tier too. Um, I actually kind of like the Belly Bolt more than the Mr. Mime, and I also like the Orthworm a little bit more than the Mr. Mime. Yeah, I think that's okay for now. Obviously, I can move it around as we go. This is the Ammonite. This one's really cool. The only reason that I really like this one is because they made Kabuto look really silly. He looks like an oval in this card. By Yano Keiji, they did some very controversial cards for the Pokemon TCG. They did the Teal Mask Ogerpon, the Ogerpon EXs from Twilight Masquerade. Those cards are kind of controversial because not a lot of people really like them. From what I remember, I don't know if people like them again or not. But I really like the fact that there's Kabuto kind of swimming around. You have Omanite and Omastar. Um, you also have a fossil in the ground, which is really good detail. The colors on this one are great. I really like how it's like kind of like looks like it's from an old time, like kind of like an old timey image, which is really cool. Like the colors a lot. I think it's a nice Pokemon to choose. Um, yeah, and I'll put it in B plus tier. I think it's a very nice looking card. Our next one is going to be the Dragonair art rare from 151 by Rika. Man, this one is amazing. This is one of my favorite art rares in the set as well. Same with the Poliwhirl. I think that they're both fantastic looking cards, and I actually might like this one more. Um, I don't know. The fact that he's like swimming around like an ancient ruin, obviously you can tell because like the grass growing everywhere, these nice little petal flowers, pink, you have green, you have the nice like blue, but you can also see the bottom of the water as well. You have the Dragonair, which looks super soft and nice. And then you have like this tower in the background to kind of add some like perspective. Just a fantastic looking artwork overall, and I think that it's just definitely a standout for sure in a set in 151. I think I'm inclined to put it at the top of A plus tier, and I'll put the Ninetales in S tier. And I'm gonna move the Magikarp down to A plus tier actually. I think that that's a little bit of a controversial take, but I will put it there. And next is gonna be Paradox Rift. We got a lot of art rares to cover here. This one is the Crustal. It's by Okubo. Okubo has gotten more and more cards recently, I think. And I like this. This is one of their debut cards, I'm pretty sure. I really like how the rain looks. I like how it kind of like goes diagonally down, kind of creating just like more visual appeal in the card. All the rocks are kind of different colors, which makes it again more visual appeal. And then you have like the crustal kind of like all huddled up in the cave because they don't want to get rained on. There's one right here down here being covered by a pillar or like a cliff or something. There's a lot going on in the card, and I really appreciate it for that. I actually really like it a lot. So I'm gonna put it in B plus tier, I think. I'm gonna put it like up here. Actually, I'm gonna put it in B tier, like right here. Yeah, that's okay. Next one is going to be the Dottler. This is also by Tetsukayama, so we already talked about their Machoke, but I actually kind of almost prefer this one. This is Dottler. They're kind of on top of like a mountain or like a cliff overlooking an enormous city. Another thing that I really don't really notice when I pull the arbor is because it's just like you never really get a time to like stare at them like this. The sunrise is really great. I really like how their style of like the dotty kind of style kind of affects the sky. Now that you have like the nice like blue kind of transitioning into an orange. The Pokemon themselves look very vibrant and nice. And then you have like the branches that also look very vibrant and nice. And I think that this one is actually better than the Machoke that they did for 151. So I'm actually happy to put this one a little bit higher. And I'm gonna put it. Let's see. I put this one in B plus tier. So I'm gonna put this one in like the top of B plus maybe. Yeah, I'm actually okay with that. I think that a dollar is not a really interesting Pokemon, but I think that the card itself looks really cool. And this one is really cool too. The Toad Scroll this is by Keiichiro Ito. Again, this guy, the guy that did the Umbreon VMAX. Better than their Belly Bolt, I think, a lot better. All the Toad Scroll look very interesting. I like how they have like a vine city kind of with the trees where they're kind of like walking around the vines to traverse around the place. The sky color looks really nice. You have it like bleeding down into the floor. Um, yeah, I think it's just a very nice looking card. But again, I'm not really a huge fan of Toad Scroll. Toad's cool, has a cool art rare. Toad Scroll is alright. But I definitely like it a little bit more than the original one. I'm gonna put it right next to the Crustal. Actually, I'm gonna put it a little bit lower. I'm gonna put it in like B minus tier, just because it's not really the most like visually appealing one to me. I'm gonna put it right here. Our next one is going to be the Magby. This is by Mina Nakai. I really like Mina Nakai's artwork. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the last video. Um, they did the the cloth, I think. This one is a lot better in my opinion than the cloth. I like how the Magby is kind of like, roaming around the lava. Obviously, it doesn't affect it because it's made out of lava or fire or whatever. It is a fire type. The fact that it's like inside of like a burning volcano or like roaming around it is really cool. The steam is a really nice touch. The fire looks really nice. So I'm gonna put it pretty high. I'm gonna put it like I like it more than Charmander art rare. I actually like it more than the Cleffa. Let me put it right here. Next is going to be the Iron Moth. This is by Takeshi Nakamura, an artist who's pretty sure that they were introduced with this card. And this one is really, really nice. I really love the colors on it. I love how you have like the nebula in the background. There's like so many nice looking like details in this card that just like add on to make it look really nice. Like yeah, I don't know where it is. It might be in space or something because that's where it looks like it is. Um, some random desert planet or something, but you have like the rocky face and you have like the blue, purple, green, the red almost, and you have like a dark gray. Really nice color choices overall. It makes a Pokemon that's not super interesting turn into one that I think is very interesting, which is something that an artist should definitely do. And I think that I actually quite like it a lot. I'm gonna put it this like right up here next to the Psyduck. And I think I'm gonna move the Psyduck down a little bit, just like right here. Actually, I'm going to put it right here. All right. Our next one is going to be the Snorunt. This is by Naoru Misato, same person that did the Lechonk. I definitely like this one more than Lechonk. It has a lot more personality. I like how he's smiling as there's like a snowball on the ground. There's like another Snorunt-sized hole right here, so you can obviously tell that he laid down in here. The forest looks barren, but as it should. I think it's a snowy forest, which works pretty well. So I will put it definitely above the Lechonk. I definitely prefer it over the Lechonk. But it is not my favorite art rare of all time. And I'm gonna move this one up a little bit. Actually, I think that's fine here in the B minus tier, but I think I'm just gonna move this one down. Um, sorry, I know I'm really conflicted, and I'm kind of just talking just to talk, but you know. Oh, this one is great. This is the Mantyke by Rika, same person that did the Dragonair. This character, I don't know if they have a name or if they're like relevant at all, but I like all the details inside of their submarine. I really, really like how the Mantyke looks. You have so much detail, like all of the different consoles. You have like obviously like studying Mantyke as a Pokemon, which is a really cool idea. You have like so much detail in this vehicle. Yeah, this guy he just like took off his jacket or something, and he's looking outside and he's seeing the Pokemon that he's trying to analyze. You have a cup of coffee. You got the steam from the coffee. You have a bunch of different research paper regarding Mantike, which is just a great idea. The fact that you can also see outside of the submarine, this is just fantastic, honestly. It's like one of my favorites, actually. And now, the more that I look at it, the more like I'm just impressed by it. So much detail, it's great. The Vanillish is also really, really good too. This is by Taiga Kayama, an artist that's also pretty recent, I'm pretty sure. You have like them like by the ice cream stand, which is perfect for like the ice cream like Pokemon that everybody talks about. All the different ice cream flavors and sizes and scoops and stuff. They're all different too. And this is like I did one, it's like black with a star on top, and then there's like a pink one, Pokeball one, like a green one with a star on top. They're all different. These people just finished getting ice cream. You have the Vanillish obviously helping out. He must be the mascot because the sign has Vanillish on it. It's just a very cute card with a lot of personality. And I really like it actually quite a lot. I think it has a lot of really great personality in it, which inclines me to put it in A tier because I think A tier is like the cards that have like some great personality, really, really great colors, just good aspects. This one is good too. This is by Oku. This is a Wimpod from Paradox Rift as well. By the way, we moved away from 151. We're in Paradox Rift now. This is the third set we're covering in this video. The wind pods all look really great. I really like how much personality they put into these Pokemon, even though they really don't have that much. This one's rolling around a bottle. This one's like going off of a box. There's some like rolling around. Obviously, they're in some kind of ship, which is a really cool idea, and it connects into the Galissapod, which is really cool. The fact that they're all just like ravaging around the ship. You have like some very nice details of the ship, like some wear and tear on the sides and like some green. It's like brown, green. Then you have like this nice, cool purple color for Wimpod. Um, I'm inclined to put it pretty high because I really like Goku's art style a lot, but it also just has a lot of personality as well. It's not just because I like the art. I think it's just because I like, or not just because I like the artist. It's just because I really like the idea of it and like the Pokemon that are included in it. And then next we got the Veluza. Man, this one is really, really good. This is by Shibuzo. Includes a Staryu just like running away in fear. And you have like a pack of Veluza just like chasing this thing. You have the main one in the front, obviously, to represent the art rare, but the colors on this one are fantastic. You have like stalagmites, stalactites. You have like a bunch of different colors, blue, pink, there's like a yellow, there's a green, and everything just looks so nice. So yeah, I'm inclined to put this one pretty high as well just because I think it looks very, very nice. I'm gonna put it in the A tier, but where in the A tier? That's the question. Um, I'll put it like pretty high up, like at the top of A tier. I really like it a lot. Our next one is going to be a connecting one, so I'm probably going to put both of them in the same tier. The Plusle and the Minun by Okacheke. I prefer these to the Mr. Mime 100%. I think there's a lot of personality between these two. This one, the kid is like super happy, and this one, the kid is like super upset, which represents the Pokemon pretty well. Um, I think they're both equally good. I don't really have a preference of either of them. Either you like, I don't know, jelly beans and coffee or coffee and pizza. It's really up to you. I think that they're both really great. I like how this one has like the picture of the two kids as babies. And this one has a picture of the two kids playing with Plusle and Minun. A lot of personality. Really, really great actually. I actually never really realized how good these ones were. But they're actually super solid. And they have a lot of character, a lot of personality. Which inclines me to put them pretty high up, and I'll put them at the top of B tier for now. We'll see if that changes in the future. Wait, I said B tier? B plus tier, that's what I meant. Next we got the Blitzel. This is by Matazo. Matazo is a really good artist, and this card is stunning in my personal opinion. I know that it's kind of like a cheap art rare, but Blitzel is a really cool Pokemon. I'm really happy that it has an art rare. I mean, the colors on this one are just fantastic. Look how much detail is put into every single like individual like plant and grass and like everything. It's just so nicely detailed. The trees have like fungus and stuff growing on them, which adds like a white to the tree. This Blitzel in the distance is glowing, and this one in the front is also glowing. So you have like a very nice like glowing white effect. And that one also has a glowing white effect. It's just like I don't know. It has such a great atmosphere to it. Again, a lot of character, a lot of personality. It is like one of my favorites from Paradox Rift. I just really love how much character is in that one. Um, I'm gonna put it in A tier right here. That's fine with me. Our next one is gonna be the Joltik. Man, this one is really cute. He's like laying on top of a Yamper. He looks very cute, as Joltik probably should. This one is not my favorite art rare of all time, but of course I am biased because I really like Joltik. But I'm not gonna put this one very high because we do have another Joltik that we're gonna be looking at later, which is gonna be pretty high on the list. This one though, it's pretty good. It's not my favorite art rare of all time, so I'm gonna put it in the B minus tier. I think that is very cute, but I don't kind of prefer it a lot over a lot of these cards. That's fine. I'm gonna move this one down a little bit, like right here. And then our next one is gonna be the Espathra. This is by Akiragawa, my personal favorite artist. I don't know what anybody's opinion on this card is. I really don't know. I know that's not super expensive or anything, but God, it's so nice looking. I mean, like the colors on this one, I don't know. There's just something about it that's so appealing to me. Like every single individual sand, like that sand kind of like has these like triangles that make it look super detailed. And it all leads up to this point. You have like a bunch of dunes in the background. You have this Spathra, it just looks really fantastic with like super nice shading. Like the colors are great. Like you have like all these different colors. You have like yellow, you have like a kind of darker yellow, almost kind of like a tan. You have purple, orange, white, blue. You have another, it looks like another planet in the background. That's the thing. It's like such an interesting, such an intriguing, like just beautiful, beautiful card. And I really, really like how there's like a bright light in the background, kind of as like I don't know, it's like a beacon. And then you have the Espathra just kind of looking really great. I think this as an artwork, I think is one of my favorites. Obviously, these lists are super super opinionated. Like everybody's opinion is different, but I think that this one is like one of my favorites. I just really love the colors on it a lot. The Gimme Ghoul. This is by Akira Komiyama. This is a very funny card, and I actually kind of like it. I really like the colors on it. I think it's super interesting how flat they chose to make this card. Definitely to its benefit, though. I think the Gimme Ghoul looks very funny. He's crossing his arms. He's trying to look cool. Yeah, obviously not because he's a really tiny little guy. But I am inclined to put this one pretty high. I think I've said that a couple times in this video that I'm inclined to put it high. But there's just so much character in this one, and I really like it a lot. And I'm actually gonna put it in A tier. A tier is for like the standout artworks that like really like I don't know, anything A tier and above, like it's like a card that like I would have in my collection forever. I mean, I would have all of these cards in my collection forever. But these ones are just like A tier and above is just like crazy cards that I need, like super bad. The Groudon is by Nurikabe. This one's cool. I like how Groudon is kind of like creating land with his powers or whatever. He's kind of like expanding into the water. The volcanoes erupting in front of him is nice. The colors are pretty nice as well. I like how he has like a glowing eye. I definitely prefer this one over the Tyranitar art rare. This one is very striking, very cool, very interesting. Um, Groudon is obviously a super popular Pokemon, so it makes sense. Um, but I'm gonna put this one like in B plus tier. I think that is a very nice looking card. Um, like right here in the middle of B plus tier. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but that's just my opinion. I really like this one a lot, the Mienshao. I really love it a lot. The colors are great. You know, you have a purple, you have green, blue, obviously for the sky. Um, and you have like this nice like waterfall in the background. It's just a very regal, very majestic card for a Pokemon like Mienshao, which is a Pokemon that doesn't really get a lot of representation or love, which is really cool. I think that Taira Ikitsu did a very good job on this one. I like all the, plants and stuff. I think that it's a really nice one, honestly. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I mean, I have it in my collection, and I really like having it in my collection. I think that that's perfectly fine. And our next one is the Minior. This is by 0313. I really love the colors on this one. This one has like some of the most astounding colors of all time out of any art rare. Um, so striking, so simplistic, but so striking. Like you have all the different colors of Minior, bar the black one, which is a shiny. But you have like these really nice looking clouds coming down. You have like a very nice like what's it called, diagonal pattern to this one because they're all coming down into the left. You have the very nice looking clouds, you have the very nice looking trees and like the crystally kind of like triangles and diamonds and stuff and just so much so much awesome stuff going on with the card. I'm gonna put it in A plus tier. Yeah, I'm gonna put it up here, all the way up here. I'm gonna put it like all the way at the top of A plus tier. I actually like it more than the Magikarp, honestly. Um, hot take, I guess. Yeah, A plus tier is definitely filling out. Garganacl. This is a very nice one as well. This is by Kodama. Kodama's not an old artist, I don't think, but they're a great artist. There's so many different Pokemon in this card, so much personality. You have a bunch of different Swablues. You have a Fletchling, you have Hoppip, and then you have a Starly, Ralts, Rockruff. Um, you have a Diglett, you have a Fungus, that's Cacnea right there. Very cool. I think that Garganacl's using his signature move, which is Salt Cure, which is really cool. It makes his like hand glow, and all the Pokemon seem super excited about it. This adventurer, he's like peering over a rock, trying to like look at this like natural thing of beauty. He has like a little Meowth by his side, and Meowth seems very interested in the light as well. Man, this one has so much personality. Like again, like you don't really recognize how much love and care is put into all these artwares until you see them like this. And I'm gonna put this one in A tier. I really like it a lot. I really like the personality in this one a lot. Next one is the Slitherwing. It's by Takeshi Nakamura. Um, this one's alright. I'm not really a huge fan of Slitherwing as a Pokemon. I like the colors in this one, but he's not really doing anything. He's kind of just like standing there. Um, there's some palm trees in the background, which is cool. I think that the fact that like the rock kind of like goes into the ancient font thing is kind of cool. Um, and the blue underneath them is pretty nice looking. Um, I'm not really interested in this Pokemon that much, so I'm gonna put it pretty low. It does have some cool details, but all the artworks have some pretty cool details in them. You got to do a little bit more than that. This is the Garbodor, Shinya Komatsu. Man, there's so much detail in this one. Like, I really like how Garbodor actually has like a personality in this card. I think that's kind of cool. Um, you have a dumbbell, you have a box, you have a ball, you have a fan, you have a sofa, or not a sofa, just a chair. You have a refrigerator, you have a washing machine, you have pots and pans and tires and so much different garbage. But that gives it so much character. You have a lamp, a bunch of pipes, you have a toxic waste barrel, a TV, just so much different random stuff. But it and a mattress. Just really adds to like the personality of the card. The simplistic colors and simplistic decisions in this card also make it have a lot of personality. I prefer it over the Raichu for sure. Um, and it goes pretty high up on my list just because I really like how much stuff is going on in it. And wow, this one is so good too. Paradox Rift has some really, really good art rares in it. This is the Yveltal. This is by Masako Tomi, who did the Gloom, and this is just like a fantastic evolution of their art style. I love how the card has like these paintbrush, like paint stroke kind of like feel to it. The colors for the plants are fantastic. This one plant has, purple, red, and yellow in it, and it's like combined over a bunch of different, flowers. You have gray in the bottom, these very nice like traditional style Japanese clouds. Gray, black, Yveltal is kind of symmetrical in a way. He looks amazing, really, really cool. One of my favorite art rares of all time, gotta say. I'm gonna put it in the S tier. I think that's pretty easy for me. It is one of my favorite art rares of all time, if not my favorite one. I just really love it so much. I really love the colors on this one. It just pops. It really does. This one also pops pretty well too. This is the Morpeko by Yu Nishida. The colors in this one are fantastic. So much going on. There's so many different sweets. There's a sweet that looks like a Voltorb right here. That's kind of cool. There's a bunch of cookies, a bunch of candy. There's another candy that looks like a Staryu. You got Pikachu. You have a bunch of different like references to other Pokemon, but as sweets, which is a really great idea. Morpeko. I don't know if Morpeko's known for that. For eating a lot of candy, but if it is, then this is perfect. This is a great art rare. Really great. Really great. And I don't even really like Morpeko that much. I actually kind of dislike Morpeko, but this one is really cool. I actually really like it, so I'm gonna put it at the very top of B plus tier for now. We'll see. Brute Bonnet. This is by Tomokazu Kamiya. Obviously a very iconic artist. This one is very abstract compared to a lot of their other art rares. It's because it's like based around a bunch of plants. Like this Brute Bonnet Pokemon is in a area with a bunch of different plants. They're all super trippy. You have like a yellow flower with white, red, purple, pink. Like you really zoom in, it kind of hurts my eyes. I'm not gonna lie. But there's just so many different colors. You have a nice bright blue sky, like all the way hiding in the back, but there's like a forest of a bunch of different crazy looking plants, and you can barely even see the Pokemon, honestly, if you're not looking for it. He's right here. Um, yeah, it's cool. I actually quite like it. It's not my favorite Tomokazu card of all time or anything. I think that the Drowsy has a little bit more personality in it. But for just like a sheer like abstractness, it puts it pretty high for me. Our next one is going to be the, let's see, Steelix. This is by Nishimono, a pretty recent artist as well, I'm pretty sure. But the details on this one are fantastic. I like how there's a timber and a girder. They're helping out as they're supposed to. They're the construction worker Pokemon. Also mixed with some actual construction workers. Steelix is obviously helping out on the site, helping however he can. The sense of scale in this card is fantastic. I really love how Steelix just looks way bigger than every other Pokemon, every other anything here. It gives a lot of character, a lot of personality, and I think that this construction site is perfect. It's a perfect environment for this Pokemon, which is going to bump it up really high for me. I really love the sense of scale. I really love the details. So I'm going to put it in A tier, and I'm going to put it like right up here, all the way at the top of A tier. Our next one is going to be the Ferrothorn. Like the colors, is by Karuta So. Karuta So I actually don't really know a lot about, but they're a good artist, obviously, from this artwork. I like how happy Ferrothorn looks. I like how the house is kind of like a futuristic looking house with like some floating, like quote unquote floating stairs. They kind of wrap around the side. A bunch of different plants in here, some books. You can't really see all of the house, which I kind of would like to see a little bit more of the house, just to get like the full picture of what's going on in this art rare. The environment itself is pretty nice, though. I don't mind it. It is not my favorite art rare of all time. It just lacks a lot of those details that some of those art rares that really strive or really thrive have going on for them. So I'm gonna put it in C tier. Our next one is gonna be the Aegislash. This is by Takumi Wada. Really, really great artist. They're an artist for like Zelda, I'm pretty sure. which is a fun fact. This card is great. I really love the lens flares on the front of the card. The details, the bricks in the back are really nice. Aegislash itself looks pretty cool. This is not my favorite art rare that they've done. However, I think that there is one more that I actually like a little bit more. But this one is cool. Um, Putting it in B tier because I do kind of like it. I do kind of don't think it's like the best one that they've ever done. But B tier is a fine spot for me. Our next one is going to be the Apom. This is by Yukamori. Yukamori is obviously a very popular artist, very iconic artist. This one is simplistic, but it's definitely effective. The simplistic colors in this one are really do a good service. You don't really know what they're doing. There's obviously one with a berry, and the other one's kind of like wandering around. Um, but man, the environment of this one is great. Really gives you a nice jungle theme. Um, but geez, where do I put it? Um, B tier, like right here in the middle of B tier. It just stands out so much compared to these other art rares, so I'm gonna put it like the top of B tier. Actually, maybe a little bit lower. Right here, maybe. Yeah. Our next one is the X-Blout. It's by NC Empire. Man, the colors on this one just pop. I really love like the different colors in this one. Like the shouting emotion is really portrayed here because you have like the white lines coming off, but you also have these like lightning bolts coming off as well. It looks like a kind of like a painting, or not like a painting, like a spray paint thing that you'd see somewhere, like a design. Um, these like effects are really cool. I like how it like kind of like opens up and gets even closer to the camera until it, like swoops around to the side. The smoke is cool. Um, Exploud, not really my favorite, or this is Loudred. Loudred is not really my favorite Pokemon of all time, but this card really, really does a good job of like capturing that energy that I think it should have, which inclines me to put it pretty high. And again, I think a lot of these cards are just like they're, you wouldn't expect a Pokemon like that to be so interesting, but it is. This one is great. It's Swablu, and he's hiding in a group of Wingull. He's trying to blend in, but obviously he doesn't. These ones are all uniform. They're standing forward. This one's staring right at the camera, and there's like a little bit of light going on him. He's like irradiating the area around him. The colors are great. The plants are great. The grass is great, and yes, everything in this card is pretty great. I will put it in B tier because I like it a decent amount, but I don't like it more than the Ice Cube. Next is going to be the Porygon Z. A lot of hidden details on this card, a lot of really cool details as well. This is a Porygon Z if he's a gamer or something. I really don't know what this is, but it's cool. There's a Porygon Z hat. I think he's like a trainer, and the trainer is like a Porygon Z themed gamer or something. I really don't know. There's a pop mic or boom mic or whatever. There's a very nice RGB mouse, a nice RGB keyboard. There's like a setup over here. This is just like this is the trainer in the back probably, I'm assuming. Some toys, some Porygon related toys. It has Porygon 1, Porygon 2, and then Porygon Z as toys, and an Ultra Ball as well. Some collectibles, I'm pretty sure. And you have a headset right here. You have a game console. You have, a computer. Perfect, very perfect for the Porygon Z Pokemon itself. I think that the theming in this one is really good. And I think the artwork itself is just really good, which means that I'm gonna put it high. And Porygon Z is one of my personal favorite Pokemon. Um, but the details in this one really just sell it to me. I'm gonna put it in A tier. I'm gonna put it in A tier because I like it a lot. This is Cyclizar. This is by Mina Nakai. Man, Mina Nakai has three art rares. It's kind of crazy, but their art rares are super nice. I really like them. They keep getting better every single time, I think. This one is no exception. I really, really like it. It has so much personality. All the Cyclizars are trained to do different things. One of them, there's a guy going on a backpacking trip, probably. This one, some kind of racer or something. He's asleep. This one looks like he's getting ready for a wedding. And then this one is like a biker. He's like a I don't know. I think it's like really cool that they're all customized. This one's like they're all like mopeds on the back, but I don't know. They just have a lot of character. Like the perspective as well, how it's like looking straight down at them, and they're just kind of like interacting as they're in like parking spots. It's kind of funny. It adds a lot to like the idea that these Pokemon are living in the real world, which is really cool. Really, really cool. And I'm gonna put it in A tier for that. Has a lot of character, a lot of personality, which I think is great. This is the Iron Jugulus by Ghidorah. Obviously, this is showing maybe the Pokemon world, but maybe not. Like the neon lights of the world is really interesting. And this one has like a upwards perspective where you can see into space, which is perfect for the future theme. These bright neon lights do a great service of making this card look interesting. Iron Jugulus is not the most interesting Pokemon of all time, but this art rare does do a really good job of capturing like that like intrigue of like space and the future and stuff. I think it's a really good card. I think that it's a really good art rare. Is it my favorite art rare of all time? No, it's not. I will say that much. But I think just like the Iron Moth, I think it does a great job of capturing like a really interesting theme. Just really interesting ideas. Man, this list is starting to get full. Let's just do these really quickly and then I'll end this video. These are going to be the Paldean Fates art rares. There's only 3 of them, so don't worry, it's not super long. This is the Wug Trio by Tetsukayama as well. This one is super easy to pull in the English set, but it's pretty cute, actually. They all have different personalities. This one is like looking up, he's the shiny one. These ones are also looking up. This one looking at the shiny one. This one's asleep, and these ones are all silly. There's a Pincurchin, which I never noticed until now. They're all underwater, which is a cool idea, and yeah, it's cool. It's a shiny Pokemon. Shiny Pokemon are pretty cool. I'm gonna put it like right here next to the Clauncher. Next, we're gonna have the Palafin. This one is amazing. It's really, really cool. Love the theme of this one. How it's like just this lone shiny Palafin just like standing, staring straight at the camera. There's a bunch of different like Palafin are all schooling in the background. This is by Akagi. This is their first card that they ever did, and man, what a start! Like what an introduction. This is ridiculously good. Um, I love it. I really love it. I'm not gonna put it all the way at the top. I'm not gonna put an S tier or anything. But A tier is where it's gonna sit, I think, just because the colors are great. It stands out a lot. It's really fantastic. And finally, for Paldean Fates, we have the Palmy by Rend. So this is Rend's second card. They didn't get a card until like a year after they were commissioned initially for their it was like the champion, the Illustrator Championship or competition. This card is really cute. I actually quite like it. I don't know, I think that it's very cute. I like how all the Palmies are like sleeping, but the shiny one is the only one who's waking up. There's a berry right next to them, and there's like some really nice, just like environment around them. Shine, sparkles, sunlight. It just looks really good, in my opinion. Um, Not as good as the Palafin. A little bit better than the Wug Trio, though. So I'm gonna put it at the top of B tier. And yeah, that's it. We're gonna be moving on to Temporal Forces, um, Twilight Masquerade, and all the rest of the sets in the future. I hope you guys stick around. This was part 2. Again, if you have anything that you want to add, just let me know. But yeah, that was part 2 of ranking every single illustration rare. Have a good day, guys. Bye.